7:04 a.m. Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. So from talking about revival to now talking about camp, Caribbean Amp Studios. And listen, they have made some incredible waves, not just here in Trinidad and Tobago, but also abroad. Welcome to the show this morning, the Millards. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. So
How are
thank
you?
you so much for being with us this morning on the Now Morning Show. Very excited to talk about Caribbean Amp Studio Limited and the strides that you're making throughout the globe. First of all, congratulations. I know that you have had the most recent success of being nominated in the Canadian Film Festival 2021 with An Emancipation Story.
Yeah.
Can you share with
Yes.
us what inspired you to create this piece and what got you this far?
Well, the story began with our son, Kai Malad. He was always interested in reading and stuff, and there came a time in his life where we had to explain to him that event, the emancipation event. And so, without breaking his spirit, we decided to come from a different point of view, where we deliver it from not only the look of enslavement, but from the victory that came after enslavement. So, and it helps children when we place emphasis on the heroic acts that come out of a bad event, rather than when we focus on something that is terrible and we don't have a proper ending for that story. You know, it hurts. It goes on in them. It stays with them, and it affects the psyche. So we decided that Emancipation Story, we would have brought it out as an official story where we will be able to share it with more children just like him and around his age, and help them to understand the story from actually the actual event, what had taken place, and the heroes that came out of the event. Because they are children, they are more inclined to be visual beings. So they love to see cartoons, they love to see movement. And so we incorporated that. We're creatives, aside from our previous backgrounds of technology and petroleum engineering. But we've morphed into fully our creative juices, and we involved all of our network of artists and such to come together and bring about a really nice production for children to enjoy. So that was the beginning of history for us, because we never turned back since.
And definitely making some great movements. As you mentioned, you never turn back. And you also mentioned, of course, your wonderful network. I know the collaborations for this and for your company as well are definitely some talented and esteemed notable people in society. So it must have been really enjoyable. Now, you mentioned Kai. And one of the things that I think really got our attention here is the fact that Kai is so young. He's already so in tune with history, with the present and the now, and wanting to actually impact other young people's lives as well. So what has the transition been like for Kai? Because I know that you've been homeschooling him, and now he has his own show, Kids Stream. Like,
Yes.
it sounds like a dream, like he's living a dream.
I don't think that he knows it yet, but he's just doing what he loves. And so he thinks that, you know, he's just creating content like any other content creator.
Yeah.
He watches all the time. So he's just happy to be, you know, creating and delivering really nice, fun stuff. Most of the times, when we do start filming, he does his own thing. because no matter how much I write, he just says his own things. And we try to move around that and make it pretty and make it his. So he's a pretty interesting guy when it comes to filming. It looks like it's natural to him. He loves to read, so his foundation began with him reading, and because of that, it was easy for him to relay information or explain something. And so we decided that he would be the best fit for anything we do film wise, creatively for kids, right? Because of his talents.
And he's definitely shining. Viewers, if you don't know, Kai is also on TTT with Kids Stream. Now, the aim of Kids Stream is for him to be able to connect with other children as well and educate them. Is that correct?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
So Kids Stream actually is about the stream, STREAM, which refers to science, social learning, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So in that arts, there's also music. So we cover a number of different areas in Kidstream. And since Kai is also an avid student of life in general, he really loves it because we get to meet different people. We get to learn a lot of different things. And we'll be doing experiments and we'll be visiting different sites. So, the whole purpose of Kidstream is to encourage people to, and we're talking about families and children in itself, to know more about the cultures of Trinidad and Tobago and also the wider Caribbean, mainly because, well, what we live in terms of our current society, we have the Netflix, we have Disney Plus, we have all these other things that are out there in terms of streaming services, but it doesn't represent who we are as a cultural identity within the Caribbean. We are a melange of many different cultures, from the Latin American to the Indian influences to the African influences, and even the Chinese and Syrian influences that play upon us here within the Caribbean. And so that affects what we have here in this country. It affects our music, it affects our arts, it affects everything. And Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean are known for a number of firsts. We have the best sportsmen in terms of sprinting and track and field. We have notable musicians and artists. We have engineers, we have scientists that have went on to do many different things. So the Caribbean is not short, and it certainly doesn't have a paucity of information or anything like that. So, Kidstream is really all about that, putting some focus in on that area. And, that's what I want to say about it.
That's fantastic. And definitely, I mean, we have a wealth of everything, I think, in the Caribbean, and especially as well, I'll say in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's beautiful that you are making these strides, and especially from such a young age as well. Now, just share with us, if you can, what is your vision moving forward for Trinidad and Tobago, for the Caribbean region, for film and for camp?
Okay, well, I'll say something in the beginning, and I guess, Petrian will end off with what I got. Right. So within Trinidad and Tobago, one of the challenges that we do have here is making sure that there's good quality and sufficient quantity of that information. So in that regard, we have to produce much more content, a different variety of content, ones that will catch the eye of the people that watch our shows. We do have another show planned for later this year, and we also have more planned into 2023. So we are not just in terms of filming, but we also do animation as well. So I'll let Petrian end off there.
Yeah, so we will be moving on to also covering stories and scenarios similar to what we get on the mainstream entertainment in terms of Netflix and all of that. We want to move into not just kids content, but also young adults and adults, right? And all of our content are family oriented content. So That's one of our core values that we highlighted, and we want to ensure that quality information goes out there into the world about the Caribbean. So when it comes to tourism, we foresee that film has an impact on tourism itself, because as long as we are creating high and quality, once we are creating quality content, it begins to come into the eyes of the world. And that feeds into our potential for tourism to continue, and even visibility for businesses that need the commerce, right? So film is very important, and our target is that we are not only doing kids, but we are also doing family content as well. So you can look out for that.
Sounds absolutely fantastic. Camp taking the Caribbean region to the world through film. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Sario Millard and Petrian Millard. It's been a blessing, and looking forward to seeing more of Kidstream and more of your content and an emancipation story. Enjoy the rest of your 2021.
You too. Bye.
That was good. I like that.
I do too.
Yeah.
I always love seeing us represented. And as, is it Sario mentioned? That it's really necessary. The content that is indicative, that is specific to us, that is native to us, is very necessary and definitely will be well received. We look forward to it.
It's so exciting. Looking forward to it. Damien, you could imagine, Molly, just, being able to watch a little documentary and everything is all Trinidad and all Caribbean all the time.
And especially knowing her, she always like the show kind of vibes. Yeah, so she'll be interested in that.
The accent will change, though. The accent will change. Because Molly is clearly an American citizen, or British, thanks to Peppa Pig and the rest of them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
just to name a few.
Speaking of naming a few, we have a few